Here I have the best 3D printer of the world. At least what people are saying about this printer. So if you know me, if you follow my channel, you know that I need to put my hands on the product. I need to test and I need to experiment. I need to see if my experience as an end user is enough to say that the product is the best product in the world. And honestly, I don't believe on gnomes and elves and that kind of myth for a long time. So I'm a little bit skeptic about this printer right now, but I'm looking forward to unbox it and test it so I can tell you if you should or not pay the price of this printer. So if you already guess what printer I have here, so leave your comment right below and let's unbox this 3D printer. So keep tuned in and let's invent. Okay, so let's start unboxing this printer and start talking about the main characteristics of this printer and finally print the first pieces and see how it goes. Okay, this is the BambuLab X1 Carbon, and with the printer out of the box, let's see what we have inside the kit that came with this printer. First, it came with a power cord, of course, the manual, 2 Allen keys. So usually we see more sizes, more different sizes on the kit, but the X1 Carbon just need these 2 ones. And we have a needle to unclog the nozzle, probably. We have the spool holder. It's a metal spool holder, so you can use this on the back side of the printer, and you can use this even if you are using the AMS. You have some characteristics about this printer that probably you will need one of this in some cases. Like right after the first page of this manual, you can see that BambuLab make it clear that you cannot use a TPU, a dump PVA, and a cardboard spool on the AMS, that you can have problems. So the TPU, it's too soft to be tracted from the AMS into the extruder. The PVA, I don't know exactly why, but the cardboard, you can have problems when the filament it's going back inside the AMS. So you will probably need one of this just in case you need to print TPU or other kind of materials that are more flexible. But even not being something like, oh, you cannot do that, you can try avoid using abrasive materials like a carbon fiber or a wood PLA inside the AMS, because you have a lot of plastic components here. So to make your AMS and your printer to live a long and healthy life, probably you will want to use this spool holder at the back of the printer. So the same problem as all the printers using the spool holder at the back, but you have alternatives right on the makerworld.com website. That is the model website from BambuLab, where you can find a lot of different models of spool holders that can enable you to handle your spools from the side of the printer instead the back. Okay, so this is useful. You will receive 2 of this drying bags. It's a kind of a pounder bag, I guess, as I can feel here. You have 2 of this. One of them I already put inside the AMS, so you receive 2 of this pounder desiccants. Then you have a bag with a lot of different PTFE tubes. Probably this is a replacement PTFE tubes to use inside the AMS and on the backside of AMS, as I can see on the manual. But yeah, you have a lot of difference here to replace, just in case you need. Then you have an extra hot end from 0.4 millimeters. So you have one mounted on the printer and one extra, so you can replace this as soon as you have any problem or you have degradation as you're using your printer. And this was a very nice surprise, because right at the bottom of the box I found a kit of clock, a 3D printer clock. So you have a very simple project that you can build and to test your printer. And you have 3 incomplete filament spools, because they have just a small amount of filament on each one of this, but it's enough to test your printer. So you have one basic PLA, one carbon fiber PLA, and one support filament for PLA here. So you have this 3, so you can test your printer. And this is interesting because BambuLab uses a special spool to identify your filament when you put on an AMS. So all those spools has an RFID chip inside, so when you put on the AMS, the printer can identify what kind of filament is this and even what color is. So the bad thing about this is a lot of people are complaining is that you cannot change the code that came with the RFID here, but even like that, you can reutilize this spools. You can just unlock this and replace the content and use and reuse, especially if you buy a filament from a brand that has a spool that is not compatible with AMS, like a cardboard spool or a larger spools. So you can reutilize this one, and even having the model, the type, and the color fixed on the RFID chip, you can work around this limitation using your Bambu Studio software, okay? So with all those parts that came with the BambuLab X1 Carbon, we have a special bag here with more accessories, including some consumables. So as you may know, the X1 Carbon uses a bunch of technology and a bunch of strategies and engineering that makes this printer unique. And some of this, how can I say that? Some of these features demand the use of consumables. One of these consumables are this very small piece of plastic with a PTFE tube at the top that is responsible to clean up the nozzle at the back of the printer. So this small PTFE tube at the top will degrade as you are using. So you must change this as you see that is needed. So BambuLab send you 2 of this on the kit, so then you can have it to change. Another replacement part is the knife that you will use inside the extruder. So as this printer will automatically pull the filament and roll back into the AMS, when it changes the filament at the extruder head, printer will cut automatically the filament. So you will need an extra blades to replace that. It's a very small blade. Whoa, okay. You will need this extra blade that you can replace at the hot end at the extruder. So it's a steel blade, but as you are using this will degrade, especially if you are using carbon fiber filaments that it's more abrasive. They will degrade even faster, these blades. But all these consumables are very cheap consumables, and then you can buy this on your local store or even on AliExpress. You can buy these consumables for a very affordable price. So here on the kit we have an extra adhesive to use on your bed. This is the adhesive responsible for the Lidar calibration, okay? Then you have a hot end locker with two screws here, and an extra screw kit for the extruder, and you have a couple of grease lubricants here to use on your vertical actuators. And you have a small surprise here. I'm showing you what is coming into the kit, but I saw on the BambuLab forum people claiming for some things that didn't came with their printers, and people from BambuLab said that some items are random. So some things that you will see inside your kit can come in one kit and can come differently or didn't come on other kits. Like this one, probably BambuLab has a lot of different small projects like this one. Then they can send you a random other project like this on your kit as this blade. This is a blade to use on your bed scratcher. So it's a very nice blade, but whoa! But when I saw this, I thought, okay, how I will use this with my fingers? So then I had a surprise. When I look into the printer memory, I found a lot of different options to print the scratch holder here. So then you can use this blade to attach to your scratcher holder. So probably on other models or other branch of printers, people can receive different products or different giveaway gifts. Okay, let's talk about the main characteristics of this printer. I just need to remember you that BambuLab was founded on 2020 by an ex-engineers from DJI, that it's a great company of drones and aero technology. So just remember, they spent more than 3 years working on prototypes and developing this printer, and this printer was launched at 2022 on Kickstarter, and they launched the X1 and X1 Carbon together. So just remember that for more than 2 years, a lot of other 3D printer brands have been pursued the results that BambuLab has with this printer. So let's start. So the building volume of this printer is 256 cubic millimeters. So the hot end, it's all metal. Just remember that some characteristics are a little bit different between the X1 and the X1 Carbon. So on the X1 Carbon, you have the all metal hot end, you have the nozzle made on a hardened steel, and you have the hot end temperature hitting 300 degrees Celsius. The default nozzle that came with this printer is the 0.4 millimeters. You can change that by the 0.2, 0.6 or 0.8 millimeters. As you saw on the kit, this includes a filament cutter at the hot end head. Then here is two main characteristics that basically made all the other brands pursue this features this printer. That is the max printing speed of 500 millimeters per second and the max acceleration of 20,000 millimeters per second. So this is the same configuration that you found on 2022 at Kickstarter, and it is still the top of the market configurations you can find on the better printers on the market. So the max flow of the hot end is 32 cubic millimeters per second, but I saw a couple weeks ago a notice from BambuLab that they release a new nozzle upgrade, a new hot end upgrade that can rise these results. So I'm not sure about what is the maximum flow of the new hot end, but you can find on the internet. And here is a kind of controversial configuration here that BambuLab says that the build plate can hit 110 degrees Celsius at 220 volts, and it can hit 120 degrees Celsius when you are using 110 volts power supply. So it's a bivolt printer, but you can have different results depending on the voltage of the circuit where you are using this printer. So just remember that. One of the features that it's impressive about this printer is the fact that they are using a micro lidar. So a lidar sensor is basically an optical sensor that is capable of scanning surfaces and identifying small differences on that surface. So inside a 3D printer, especially on the case of the X1 Carbon, this sensor is used to scan the hotbed and identify the small distortions caused by the temperature oscillation on inside the printer. So the hotbed is made on aluminum. So this is based on the physics. This is obvious that the aluminum changing temperature from 0 or from 30 degrees to 7 degrees to print PETG, for example, that aluminum will suffer some kind of deformation. And the auto leveling, it's essential to have the first layer perfect printed. In this case, in the case of X1 Carbon and X1, those printers from BambuLab use not only the auto leveling, the mechanical auto leveling, but they use the lidar to cross this information inside the neural processor that this printer has and extract from that a better information to leveling the first layer of the print you are sending to them. So this printer already came with a full HD webcam inside the chamber, so you can monitor, and this same camera, it's used with the artificial intelligence, the lidar sensor, and a lot of other sensors inside the chamber to determine if the print job is going well. The camera can detect spaghetti prints. It helps on the first layer detection with the lidar sensor, and it's used to monitor and a lot of other things. So as I said on other videos here on the channel, the internal camera on the printer, it's something that I cannot live without that anymore, at least. So it has a very, very important function on the modern 3D printers. So it has a door sensor to detect if you're opening the door, it can stop the print automatically. It has the filament runout sensor, that it's another feature that it's not differential, but remember that this printer came with all those features before anyone else. So filament odometer, this is interesting because you can have this feature only when you are using the AMS. So the AMS can measure the amount of filament you are sending into the printer. So it will count how many meters you are spending on filaments to print something. And then you can cross that information with your slicer that gives you an estimative of how long or how much filament you will spend. So here you have a filament odometer, power loss recovery, basic. And input shaping, again, they introduced that, so they have this feature on X1 Carbon. So the other features here are not really important features like Wi-Fi connectivity, touchscreen, blah, blah, blah. This is information that it's so basic that it doesn't worth the time to tell, but they put three different processors inside this printer. So the first one is the motion controller. Motion controller is responsible for the hardware. So the step motors, the head, the extruder, the hot end, and everything else related to the hardware. So to control all this functionalities inside this printer, they use a dual-core Cortex M4. So the other processor is the application processor to control the touch screen, to control the interaction between the printer and the software, and all this interaction features related to the application. So for this function, they use a quad-arm A7 1.2 gigahertz. And the third processor, it's a neural processor. They call the Neural Network Processing Unit that has two TOPS NPUs inside here, this printer. So this is the processor responsible for reading the lidar information, the auto leveling, mechanical sensors, the camera information, then cross all this data and take decisions to make your print perfect, and even to help you to decide what is the best way to send your print to here. And one other feature that I forgot to say, that is the advanced pressure calibration, that it's another feature that is made by the lidar sensor to determine how the advanced pressure should be calibrated to have a good printing, especially on the corners of your printing parts, okay? So all these functionalities and all these results are processed by the neural processor that came inside the X1 Carbon. So let's talk about the AMS. So one AMS, it's capable of 4 different filament spools at the same time, but you are not limited to this, okay? You can attach up to 4 different AMS to the same printer, what basically makes you able to use 16 different colors at the same time, and then sending prints using 16 different colors in the same part, or even using different parts or different types of filaments, including support filaments that you can use to print engineering parts or prototypes that needs to have that perfect parts where you are using supports. So then you are able to use all these different filaments inside the AMS. Beyond that, you can use the AMS as a backup, not only to change color, but to make sure that if you are printing a very, very big part and your spool it's almost ending, you can set up the AMS to get the next filament as soon as the first one gets to the end, and then you will not lose your print, or if you are not paying attention to your printer, you can just leave the printer working and go do whatever you need, and your printer will take care of all the process, changing filaments, and make sure that the part will be printed at the end perfectly, okay? So it is airtight, so you don't have to concern about humidity. It has 2 slots inside to use the desiccant, and you have small lockers here on the doors. And beyond that, to help you monitor your AMS, you have a humidity sensor here that you can read inside your software or your mobile application. The chamber of this printer is a passive heating chamber. So basically, it's not able to heat itself without turning on the bed. It's not bad, okay? Just to make clear, it's not bad. But you have the active chamber heating on the X1E, that it's another model, it's a upper model after X1 Carbon, and it's more indicated to use on engineering process, prototyping, using more advanced materials like polycarbonate and POM and other materials that requires an active heating chamber. So I don't have access to X1E, at least for now, but BambuLab, if you want to send me one, I will be happy to receive, okay? So here with the passive passive heating chamber, you can heat up to 60 degrees Celsius. What is enough to print ABS and even polycarbonate with a very well quality, considering that the build plate, it's a texture build plate and it has an awesome adherence. So it's not a problem unless you need to work with more problematic material, okay? This printer already came with Activate Carbon filter at the back, and then you can replace that as you need. Even because people from community already created filter, then you can print and replace that without having to buy directly from BambuLab. And this is a very well done feature, because when you are printing ABS, ASA or other materials, you can avoid to be intoxicated by those toxic particles in the air where you are printing. And talking about special material, okay, let's enter on the material list. So what BambuLab recommends to use on this printer are PLA, PETG, TPU, ABS, ASA, PVA, pure PET, PA, that it's the polyamide or the common known as nylon, PC, what is the polycarbonate, and it able to print, of course, the name is X1 Carbon, but it's able to print carbon fiber filaments. But that here is one recommendation. I already told you this at the beginning of this video, but I will repeat that. So if you want to print materials that has other kind of compositions like carbon fiber or glass fibers, filaments, the recommended use is to put the spool holder at the side and then input this filament directly to the extruder. So don't use the AMS for the corrosive materials, because you can degrade your AMS faster than you want. And the TPU that it's in the list is another material that even BambuLab recommends you to use an external spool of TPU, because AMS does not handle very well with a flexible material, okay? So if you want to print on this printer, you can use the Bambu Studio on your PC or Mac OS. You can send from your mobile device using the Bambu Handy, and you can use the web interface through the Maker Word, where it's basically integrated with Bambu Studio and the printer, so you can watch, find models and then send the print to your printer with the best configurations that other people already set on their models or their projects, and then you can just send to print and voila, it will works, and we will print what you found on the website and you like it, okay? So okay, I finished the all characteristics. So let's test this printer and let's see it's really good, like all the people are saying about the X1 Carbon, and I'm hearing for a long time. So now I have the chance to put my hands on one of this, and I have the chance to test, okay? So let's test. So okay, after 2 days printing on this printer, I have some opinion to tell you about my first impressions about this printer. So to run this test, I choose to use a premium filament, even because it's a premium printer, right? So I choose a premium filament called Dynalabs that we have here in Brazil. And the first test I ran with the default PLA that came with the printer. This is a basic PLA from BambuLab, and honestly, I didn't like the results I had with the green basic PLA from BambuLab. I think that this model has a lot of defects, especially on the seams. So then I choose to try the Bordeaux filament from Dynalabs, and then I print this other benchy, and honestly I can see very few defects or artifacts on this print. And if you put side by side the filament from BambuLab and the filament from Dynalabs printed way better than the BambuLab filament using the default profile, okay? So this is the point. The point is, even having the possibility to calibrate and fine-tuning your filament, you can send using the default profile for PLA, patchy, ABS, and you will have a very good result with the default profile. And this is the main difference between a premium printer and a common printer, let's see, like this, okay? So this is the result from Dynalab filament, and then I've tried ABS that it's not so bad considering that it's the default profile. So I like the result, and I see that with any other printer, if I try to send this kind of filament without running a well and very careful calibration, I probably will not have the same results as this printer. So of course I try other things like this dinosaur that came in the memory of the printer. It's not the kind of print you can watch and try to evaluate the quality of the printer, because it's a very simple model that it's printed all laid down on the print bed, but it's an interesting joke to run on the printer. So the most important tests I run, of course, is the multicolor, and then I use these 3 colors from Dynalabs. One is the cobalt blue, and the other one is the flu yellow, and the Bordeaux or Bordeaux. I don't know how to say that in English, but they have 3 different versions here: Portuguese, Spanish, and English. And then Bordeaux, or Vermelho Bordeaux. So you choose which one you want to say, okay? So I choose to print the Stone Dragon. That is an awesome model, and I choose 3 colors. I use the Bordeaux only on the eyes. Really, if you follow me here on the channel, you know that I'm not impressed with multicolor print. I use my 3D printers to produce functional projects, and multicolor was never actually something that take my heart. But after seeing this printer working fully automatically, pulling the filament, changing the filament, and putting out this kind of print, I think I'm changing my idea. And this is awesome. Not only because it's multicolor, but take a look on the zoom at the screen, the quality of the layers. Each layer, it's perfectly printed. This is an awesome print. Awesome print. I'm in love with this printer, and afraid of get accustomed with this facilities and then not want to let this printer get back to our partner, because this is not mine. Our partner sent to me, but I'm afraid that I will spend money buying this printer to do not have them take this back. Okay, the other test is testing supports. So here I have a project I'm working on. Then I will bring this project very soon, and I'm sure that you will love it. So this is a project using the same ABS. This is a undefire ABS, a special filament to work with electrical projects, and it has a very big support right under the front of the part. So to remove the support, the only thing I had to do was forcing a little bit and then remove the support. It's something amazing. It's something it just release the part, and then under the part you have absolutely no marks, nothing from the support. It's a perfect print that fits perfectly, and even on the surface you can see the details and how well done was each one of those layers printed by X1 Carbon. So it's awesome. But nothing is perfect, okay? So let's talk about the bad impressions I had on the first print. Let me open a space here, and I will leave my dragon here so you can keep watching. So the bad thing about this is this: the amount of poops that people call poops. I don't know if it's because the format or because it came out from the back of the printer. So, but they call poops, okay? So I call this waste. Waste of money and waste of filaments. So all this waste were generated printing this dragon. So what I want to do here with you is calculating how much waste a print like this generates using the default configuration, okay? I know that are custom configurations I can do on basically on all BambuLab printers to reduce the amount of poops that they generate, but this is the default configuration. So I want to show you, click here on tear, okay, one more time. So let's see first what is the weight of the dragon. So the dragon has 145 grams, 145 grams. So let's see how much waste I have from the same print. Oh, this is a problem. To print 145 grams, I produce 130 grams of waste filament. This is not only about the money. This is sad because this here, this is plastic, and we know what plastic does to the environment and nature if people doesn't recycle this properly. So this is something that concerns me, especially because this is one of the most popular printer in the world, and there are a lot of people buying those printers and using, especially on farms, because it is not only a fantastic piece of technology, but it's a durable printer, easy to use, and very affordable to make money with this. So you can buy one of this and start producing your own parts and selling on eBay or Mercado Libre on Latin America. So you can produce this parts on, or useful parts, utilities, and everything to make money. So what people are doing with the waste of this production process, this concerned me. We have a lot of tutorials on the internet that teach you how to configure your printer to reduce the amount of waste, but not all people are concerned about this, and I'm sure that a lot of people are using the default configuration and just including the difference on the price of the products they are selling. This is not a problem. You can do that. but what are you doing with the waste? So if you are using an X1 Carbon, X1, A1 Mini, or A1, or P1P, doesn't matter. If you are using the multicolor AMS and printers from BambuLab, tell me on the comments what are you doing with your waste. If you are recycling, or what are you doing with that, okay? So inventors, this is all I have to say about this printer. Honestly, I'm impressed. One more time, I took this printer and I was expecting something normal, and I was basically impressed by the automatic process the printer used. The quality of the first layer, it's something that I never saw in any other printer I had here on the studio to test. And the reliability of this, it's awesome, because this print took 16 hours to get done. And for the first time, I had a printer running at night without any kind of concern. So it's a really impressive machine that, even having 2 years, it's in the front of the market, and it's still impressive when you have the first contact. So don't forget to subscribe here on the channel and click the bell to make sure that you will receive the notification, because I will keep testing this printer with a lot of different kind of filaments and different projects, different parts, and then I will make another video here telling you the good and the bad things that I feel with this printer along the time. So don't forget to subscribe, and you can receive the notification about this new video that is coming. Okay, thank you very much for watching till here, and see you in the next video, and let's keep inventing.